You're hot. Chester Hills. Here's Coach Kampe and the voice of the Golden Grizzlies, Neil Rule.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Oakland Basketball Show. We're live at RJ's Pub in Rochester Hills. He is the Coach Greg Kampe. My name is Neil Rule. Happy to have you with us tonight. As always, the Greg Kampe Show brought to you by Henry Ford Sports Medicine and Camp. Big win at Toledo. A very convincing win as well. And top to bottom, no doubt about it, right? The best 40 minutes of the season.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we made shots. You know, it's the first time all year that we've actually put the ball in the basket from distance. And, you know, the way we can score the ball in the post and the way we guard when we make shots, we're going to be a tough out for people. And, you know, it was just a relief to see the ball go in the basket. A lot of the guys, you know, you could see on their face, and you saw how enthusiastic we got. You know, the people that were at the game, the sideline, the bench was really into it. And you know, I mean, Toledo's won the MAC 4 consecutive years. They're probably going to battle for it again this year. And to go, you know, we did look up. That's the least amount of points they've scored at home since like 2012 or some number like that. And I'm sure they haven't been beaten by that many points at home in maybe, you know, 30 years or something. They had a couple bad years, you know, 15, 16 years ago, but I'm not sure they ever got beat like that at home. And you know, and it wasn't a, you know, they put walk-ons in and you know, the game blew up because, you know, they were just trying to get. I mean, they had their starters in until the end of the game. And
right.
So it was just a bad night for them. I mean, I don't think it's indicative in any way of their team. I said to Todd after the game, I go, I'll never understand basketball. You know, I mean, it's crazy how something like that can go. But you know, we finished the half well, and we started the second half well, and that made the difference in the game. Eastern Michigan, yeah, and I told my team this, and I think it's a really good analogy, so I'll say it tonight on the radio show too. Look at the Detroit Lions-Chicago Bear game, and this is the difference. No matter, you know, the Lions might be the best team in football, and the Bears aren't, right? And if Jamal Gibbs doesn't fumble the ball going in for a touchdown with 2 minutes to go on Thanksgiving Day, it would have been 23-0 at halftime. And with all the crap that's happened to the Bears, the game would have ended up 50-6. But one play changed the whole game. So they didn't score. The Bears got the ball to start the second half. They went down. The Lions hadn't given up a touchdown in 4 quarters. Then the Bears went right down the field and scored a touchdown, and all of a sudden it became a game. And then something bad happened. They missed a field goal, which we hadn't missed a field goal all year.
Right.
But you're not going to go through the whole year without missing one. But if it had been 23-0 and it was blowing out, you missed a field goal, well, okay. But you missed it, and now it comes down to a last play. And so I talked to our team about Eastern Michigan. You know, we came out. We finished the half against Eastern. We're up 8. We go into the locker room. We come out. Eastern scores on the first possession. And then we stop them 4 straight possessions, but we don't score in any of those possessions. And it allows Eastern to stay in the game and believe they have a chance. Against Toledo, we're up 11. Toledo comes out with the ball to start the second half. They score in the first possession, but so do we. And then we hold them 4 straight possessions, but we score on 3 of the next 4. And it goes from 11 to 17 or 18. And now it's a whole new ball game. And it's just those momentum swings, those few moments in games can take a blowout to a close game or a close game to a blowout. And our players have to understand that. They have to understand the importance of finishing halves and the importance of starting the second half. I've always said the 4 most important parts of the game are the most important part, obviously, the last 3 minutes, because you're going to, you know, you're going to win or lose it in the last 3 minutes. And most college basketball games, I think it's 70-some% of all college basketball games, the final score is within 10 points of each other. So it's going to come down to those last 2 or 3 minutes. But the second most important part is the first 3-4 minutes of the second half. And the third most important part is the last 3 minutes of the first half. Opening the game's important, but I'd rather fall behind 8-0 in an evenly matched game than be ahead 8-0. I hate getting ahead 8-0 or 8-2 or something like that. It usually never ends well when you do that. And so, you know, we have to understand that. We have to, you know, really bear down offensively. in those moments and make sure we get good, clean possessions and get good shots.
Camp, too, when you look at it just from the standpoint of the zone, and we saw it at Illinois, we've seen a progression to this, too. And what you guys were able to do against Toledo, the way you were able to rebound the basketball, too. You were able to keep command of the glass, and certainly, by the way, Baru Nevalarua will be here tonight as well. One of those guys that was rebounding the basketball on Saturday night. He will be here in the house for the Oakland Basketball Show. But, Camp, talking about that, you guys were able to defend, still be able to keep rebound integrity, I guess you could say.
Well, if you go back and look at the beginning of this year and my comments when people ask me what I thought of this team, how are we going to be and all that kind of stuff, I kept saying I think we have a chance to be good because I think we can be the best defensive team I've ever had. And the reason I believe that is I think we can be an unbelievable rebounding team. And one of my best rebounders hasn't played yet. Isaiah Jones is one of our best rebounders. And when he comes back with what we're doing rebounding-wise, look who we've played, and we hold a positive rebound margin. And look, we've played at Kansas, at Illinois, at Boise. Of our 6 games we played. Is that 6? Yeah. So, and we've played Toledo, who's, we just said the MAC, and Eastern's a very good rebounding team. So we've played against all these great rebounding teams, and we hold a plus margin. So it's proving out. Defensively, again, even when we weren't playing the zone well, now Michigan, we had no idea what we were doing in it, first game and all that kind of stuff. And we knew we were going to grow and grow quickly from that. And then I've said earlier in the show last week that we've had time off between games to get better, which is unusual this time of the year. Most teams have played 8 or 9 games. We've played 6. So we knew we were going to get better, and you've seen that growth defensively. I mean, we played Saturday night. We played as well as we played that zone, last year maybe we were great in it in March and February. But up through January, we played it better than we probably did at any time last year through January. And so we've really figured it out. They're understanding. There was a point in that game when one of their and there weren't many people at the game, so you could hear some things, And there was a point in that game where one of their players yelled at their bench, "They're man-to-man." And the coach goes, "No, they're not." So basically what's happening is we're figuring it out so well that
it's disguised almost, yeah?
Yeah, but when a guy makes a mistake, and this is how you know you're playing it well, when a guy makes a mistake and somebody sees the mistake and goes and does his job, and then this guy goes and takes the other guy's job. And when you get to that point, that's when you know it's really, really good, and we're starting to see some of that. And that's really, satisfying to me to see that this early. And then we make up for some of our mistakes because we rebound. We're rebounding pretty well. Toledo missed 34 shots and only had 7 offensive rebounds, and 3 of them were on one possession. And so, I mean, we got a chance to be really good defensively. What you saw, though, is in the Eastern Michigan game, we were pretty darn good defensively there, too. But we were so bad on offense that they hung around, and eventually they're going to make some shots. When you're playing defense the way we played it and you're making shots, that causes panic in the other team. And then you see some quick shots and some, things that are going to make a 2-point game turn into a 15 or 17-point game, or in this case, a 15-point game turn into 30. And it got to 30 quick. I looked up and I was like, I said something to Smith, is that the right score? Because I looked up and, I did the math on my fingers, and it was 27 or something like that.
And you didn't believe it, right?
No,
yeah.
I still thought they were going to win. It was so. I just think when you can put good offense with good defense, things. You don't get those ugly games, that you win at the last second, or like at Eastern we lost at the last second, and that's part of the growth of a team. We do things very complicated, both offensively and defensively, and it takes time, and we see the growth. So, I feel good.
You're listening to the Oakland Basketball Show, brought to you by Henry Ford Sports Medicine, the official team physicians for Oakland University and you. For more info, visit henryford.com/athlete. Extra special hello to those of you that are streaming it on the Golden Grizzlies YouTube channel. You can tweet questions with the hashtag AskCampe. You can jump in the YouTube chat room as well. Whatever. You want to know something about Coach, about this team, whatever, feel free to fire away. Coach always will answer every question. He's always said, give me every single question, and he's always answered it. Gio and Sherry, Neil's finally dressed for work. By your request, Camp, I turned it up a little bit today.
You've had a lot of people say something about that. No baseball hat. You actually look pretty good, Neil.
Okay. We're gonna do something about this next week or no?
This is coaching apparel.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Right? Coaching apparel.
All right.
Not broadcaster apparel, coaching apparel.
All right, fair. That's fair. But Camp, DQ Cole popped off, and that's the DQ. And we knew that DQ was gonna make an appearance sooner rather than later. But I think Camp, in a back-to-back conference champion, defending conference champions, Jim, he took over the basketball game, and nobody was going to be able to do anything about it, and that's DQ Cole.
Well, he started feeling it and got it going, and I don't. The one thing I will say is it wasn't ridiculous. It wasn't Jack Goki-ish, 10 of 15 or something. Some of the things Jack did last year. It was just 6 of 11 from the three, which he can do on many nights. He'll have some 8 for 10s, and that'll be 1 or 2 times maybe. But a 6 for 11 he can do 5, 6, 7 times this year. He had a 1 for 15. I don't expect to see that again, but Goki, Bader, Kangas, they all had 1 for 11s, 1 for 12. Those things are going to happen. But to have that type of night, and it wasn't, the thing I liked is once he got it going, he became DQ, and he wasn't hesitant. And his step back was good. It wasn't forced. We have a play we call 60 where we clear the floor out, and we let him run that, and he got to the free throw line and hit a step back 2 from there, which isn't a shot I like, but when you guys like him's got it going, you want him to make whatever he can make. And so it was good to see him going. And you got to realize those guys are going to get a lot of opportunities because they're going to double us. They're going to double Baru, and they're going to double Allen. And so when they do that, we've got to get great movement, and we've got to step up and knock down open shots. And then you're going to have a tough decision to make, right? And so we scored 85 points on 63 or 64 possessions, and that's phenomenal offense. I don't expect that every night, but I don't expect what we've been doing in shooting-wise. So, as I said last week, water's going to find its level, and it's not going to be what it was Saturday, but it's not far away from Saturday.
Camp Toledo, 10 of 31 from the floor, and I mean, Camp, this is what Oakland basketball is. This is what you guys do now. This is the identity of this program. And I heard Joe Dumars talking one time, and he said, if you show me a good team or a good program, I'll show you an identity, because you can't be good, you can't be great in this game with zero identity. It doesn't exist. But this zone defense and this Oakland basketball team, their identity is defensive.
It has become that over the last, since COVID. I think it has become that. And in the transfer portal era, I think it's going to have, if you want to be a consistent winner, I think there's 2 things you're going to have to do in the portal era. One is you're going to have to remain old. You just can't say, okay, you know what, I'm going to go get
experienced.
Yeah. You can't go get 5 freshmen and we're going to grow them, and you're going to lose, and then you're going to lose them before they're good. And so you've got to be old, and then you've got to have a defensive identity, I believe. I just think if you're going to win championships and be consistent, you've got to be, the days of flying up and down the floor like we used to do, when you could develop players and have them grow into a system. That was a great system, and we won a lot of games with it, but it's just not going to happen in this day and age. And, I've had to change as a coach, and I've had to change philosophically that way, and I don't mind doing that, because I try and believe that my philosophy my whole life has been just find a way to win. You do the things you do because you play the game for the team to score the most points, and they win. And that's what we're trying to do. And I just think in this new era of basketball, for Oakland anyways, that's the way you're gonna see us. It's not going to change. It's the way we're going to play.
Camp, throughout the time that I've been with the program, too, I've noticed other teams' best players and other teams' highest scores and things like that. They never seem to shake loose against us to that level that you always hear about going in. And whether it was Antoine Davis with Detroit, and you know, there's a long list. It happens every now and then. But for the most part, by and large, you guys are able to limit other teams' good players. And if they do get points, it's typically on 22 shots, 24 shots, something along that line. How do you guys do that specifically, like in terms of a game plan? I know like Sonny Wilson came in last year averaging 19 or 20 points a game for them. You guys were able to handle him in this game as well. So is that something, Camp? Is that a byproduct of the zone? How does that work?
Well, it's definitely a byproduct of the zone, and it's a byproduct of philosophy and coaching. The other side of that, though, is, a distractor or somebody that's, want to criticize on that would say, well, you don't, but there are guys on the other team sometimes you play that never score that have their best games of the year against you. And that's true. And it's because we're, it's more an analytical type thing. If this guy's the guy averaging 20-some and we can hold him 12, somebody that hasn't scored is going to have to step up and make shots. And I like my chances in that. Does that mean, last year Green Bay came in here and they had a freshman guy, I think he got 27 against us. And everybody was freaking out over that. And my answer was, we won.
Right.
We won the game. And their first team all-league player had 7. And he came in averaging 22 or 23 a game, and we doubled it. We chased him. The best line that I can tell you is, we beat Milwaukee last year 3 times, and they had B.J. Freeman, who if they had won the league championship, he would have been the player of the year in the league. We won a championship, and I think Trey won it because of that. But he came by our bench, and he looks at me, and he says, Coach, why do you got to do that to me? And he knew he was going to get doubled, and he knew he wasn't going to be able to get his 30-some in that game. And when you can get those players thinking that, and you can get that reputation, there are going to be games where somebody steps up and makes some shots for the other team, but that's the philosophy of it, And the problem is when you play a team like Wright State Thursday night that's got 2 guys like that, and one's inside and one's outside. That's a hard guard for us Thursday night. And, we're still banting back and forth what we want to do with the game plan on this because, let's say we try and take Hebricks or whatever his name is away, and then Knoll goes off, or we try and take Knoll away, and then Hubricks goes off. Or we try and take both away, and Norris and Woods and those guys are standing wide open all by themselves, and they make shots. So or we can just say, our zone's so good, you're going to have to beat it tonight, and we don't care who gets the 27. We're going to score more points than you. We're going to try and hold them into the 60s, and if we can, we'll probably win the game. If they get 75 or higher, they're probably going to win the game. So we have to make a decision going into this game how we want to guard this team, because Wright State, and they have been for the last few years, they're the best offensive team in the league. They shoot it well. They shoot it at an elite level. They move the ball at an elite level. They back cut at an elite level. I don't think they offensive rebound this year at the level they have in the past. There's no Tanner Holden out there.
Yeah.
They lost that other big kid, went in the portal. But Knoll, preseason player of the year in the league, and Hebricks is probably the best scoring guard in the league. So they got those 2 guys on the floor at the same time. It's going to be a really, really, really hard matchup for us. And, if we win the game, it's going to have to be with our defense, but we're going to have to make a few shots.
All right, Camp, we'll do this. We'll take our first break. When we come back, we'll be joined by my guy, Baru Neva-Larua, as he will stop by here on the Oakland Basketball Show. We're live at RJ's Pub in Rochester Hills.
Your Oakland University Golden Grizzlies.
Drives to the basket, and it's in!
The biggest games on the blacktop.
4-3. Of course! Borowski from 3!
We need you there.
Golden Grizzlies fans, get out your dancing shoes!
your Oakland University Golden Grizzlies.
Drives to the basket, and it's in!
The biggest games on the blacktop.
For three. Of course! Borowski from three!
We need you there.
Golden Grizzlies fans, get out your dancing shoes!
Your Oakland University Golden Grizzlies.
Drives to the basket, and it's in!
The biggest games on the blacktop.
For three. Of course! Borowski from three!
We need you there.
Golden Grizzlies fans, get out your dancing shoes!
Your Oakland University Golden Grizzlies.
Drives to the basket, and it's in!
The biggest games on the blacktop.
Jay's Pub, the Oakland Basketball Show. My name is Neil Rule, the voice of the Golden Grizzlies. And right now I'd like to welcome in Baru Neva-Larua, his second go-round here on the Oakland Basketball Show. If you're streaming live on YouTube, you got a question for Baru, drop it in that chat. We'll be able to get that answered for you as well. Hashtag AskCampe also. But Baru, good to be chopping it up with you again, my friend.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
It's good to be back here with you as always. We have good convos, I think, when we're on the road from time to time. So for those that don't know, Baru is a native of Australia. And one of the things that I ask him about all the time, I don't know anything about cricket. So I'm trying to learn about cricket from Baru, and you've been breaking it down for me, man.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple game.
It doesn't seem simple when I'm watching it.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing if you're looking at it for the first time. But the scoring system basically works where if you hit it out on the full, so like what would be a home run in baseball, it's worth 6 points. If it goes out on the bounce, it's worth 4.
Okay.
And then every run, so it's like just running to the other wicket, that's 1.
The other base, right?
Yeah,
Because I always see him running back and forth, and it's crazy.
That's worth 1. And
Okay.
Then, to get someone out, you have to hit the wickets or catch the ball in the full.
All right, there it is. So that's kind of a crash course. Hey, why do the games go on for like 3 days?
Couldn't tell you. to be
Okay.
honest. I actually don't know.
That's the answer I was looking for, Baru. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Baru, just to kind of double back with what I talked about with Coach Kampe, you guys have there's been a definite progression as we've gone through the season, and you're one of the holdovers from last year, one of the few holdovers from last year. From your perspective, how has it moved from the Michigan exhibition game to the Boise game to the Illinois game to the Kansas game and all the way through to that work of art you guys had Saturday night? Wait, give me the progression from your eyes.
Well, the Michigan game was our first time actually running the defense live against somebody else that wasn't us.
Right.
So that was a bit of a horror show at first. We gave up a lot of looks that the defense doesn't want to give up. Had conversations with Bobby and Trey about it after the game that like coaches were asking if giving up the corner 3 is what we wanted, which is definitely not one of the rules of the zone. And then moving into Boise, we were still, I guess, sort of shell-shocked by what had happened against Illinois. So after that, Kampe had brought us in to watch some film of the Boise game and the Kentucky game just to see what the zone is meant to look like at its end when we've sort of done it for long enough to really understand what we're doing. And that helped a lot with just bringing about the aggression that is needed to play in this, like, because you have to be aggressive, you have to be getting into the ball,
Right.
you have to be making it hard for these guys to find open passes and driving lanes. You're able to shut things down. It has to feel like the other team has to feel like they're being suffocated, that they can't pass the ball here and they can't drive here or do anything like that. So I think just from Boise and moving on every time from that, we've done a lot better job of being more aggressive. Faltered a little bit against Kansas. Still did good considering that they're probably going to score like 85, 90 points a game.
I thought you guys did a good job. I told Kampe keeping the roof on the building because those fans, man, they wanted to explode and you just never gave them the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. So like, it's definitely gotten better and better each time. And I think this last time out against Toledo, what really helped was just making shots. Like getting defensive stops is one thing, and it hurts that much more when we get a couple stops in a row and then a couple of scores to go along with that. It really breaks the will of the guys we play against.
Talking with Baru Neivalarua here on the Oakland Basketball Show, and the Kansas conversation's a great gateway, Baru, because I did want to bring that up. Just in, Hunter Dickinson's obviously one of the faces of college basketball, and I thought you and I thought Allen certainly carried play for stretches of that game, just in terms of the post and post defense and everything like that. Did you feel the same way in that? You guys know that you and like, look, you guys are just kind of putting this together as well, kind of being a front court together. Was that something where you walked out of there and said, all right, I like where we're at right now as far as you and Allen in the front court?
Yeah, I knew pretty early on from like the first time we had a scrimmage and me and Allen were on the same team that we'd be good. Like it was never a concern about whether or not we'd be able to get to play against anyone in the country. Obviously, Allen's a very big boy, but he's also incredibly skilled, got some great touch around the rim, and better shooting touch than what he's given credit for. But just seeing that, and I know who I am as a player, so that never concerned me. I've never walked into a building and thought that, like,
oh my God, this guy.
Yeah, never not once. So Hunter Dickinson or whoever we're playing against, none of that really worries me.
Baru, I have to ask you this. We know about you, the player, obviously, but you, the person, as we talked about from Australia. 9 siblings.
Yeah, 9.
What's getting ready in the morning like in the Neivalarua household? 9 siblings.
Well, it was a little different for me. I didn't live with all 9 of them. I lived with 5 of them, and the other 4 were kind of all over the world. I had 1 in England, 2 in the States, 1 in Fiji. But even with the 6 of us, it was pretty difficult. We grew up in a small housing commission, which is like government housing house. So like you wake up in the morning, my sisters are going to high school. I got to get ready to go up and go to school. My brother's going to work, and
they're taking up all the bathroom time.
Everything's getting. If you're not up like early, not in there early, then
you're not in there.
You might just be out of luck. So, you're going to school late, or you're just gonna have to firm not having a shower for the morning. But it's a pretty hectic environment to grow up in, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun having my siblings around all the time and just having that familial and community bond. It was great.
Baru, something that I don't know that a lot of people recognize about your game as well, your turnaround and your ability to shoot the mid-range shot. It's something that's been a part of your arsenal here at Oakland. How much do you work on that? And I say that because we talked about the progression of what you guys are doing defensively. I see it with your offensive game. I'm seeing as big of a progression with your offensive game. You're a threat to score a bunch of different ways around the rim.
Yeah, well, the mid-range jump shot, I know Kampe does not like it very much. It was actually,
he likes it when it goes in.
Yeah, he likes it when it goes in. Not so much when it misses, but I remember that being one of the first things he told me, and I told him, that'd be fine. If I make enough, is it okay if I shoot it? And he said, if you make anything at a high enough clip, you can shoot whatever you want. But he does tell me if I've missed 1 or 2, he does tell me, like, all right, now let's start getting to the hoop and try and get on the line. But I work on it all the time. I have to have put up at least a couple thousand mid-range jump shots throughout my life and the last couple of years. It's something I've always sort of had a knack for. My sister, who got me into first beginning to sort of lay the roots for wanting to play basketball, she'd take me out there all the time, and she's a much better mid-range jump shooter than I am. She sort of made me fall in love with that kind of jump shot, and ever since then I've just been shooting it all the time.
All right, one of the other things you do very, very well, rebound the basketball. Is rebounding a feel game? Is it a want-to game? I know it's probably a mix of the both. Is it more feel for where the ball's going to come off the rim, or is it more I want the basketball more than you?
I think a lot of it is feel. Obviously, wanting the basketball more than someone else is a big help as well. But you see a lot of these guys that grab a lot of rebounds. Oftentimes, it almost seems like the ball's attracted to them. Like it always just seems.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
But that's a lot of that is just knowing where to be when the ball's shot. Like guys just know what misses from certain places go to what spots, and they're there. And then from there, it's, well, I'm here now. I just want the ball more than you.
It's funny to watch you talk about rebounding versus watch you talk about shooting. Like, you know, your whole physiology changes when you talk about rebounding. Like, you enjoy that, right?
Yeah, grabbing rebounds is fun. Grabbing a lot of rebounds is fun. It's just nice to see, like, double digits next to your name.
Yeah.
That isn't points. Like,
it does look nice in the stat sheet, doesn't it?
Yeah, because you only get one for every one you grab. So, like, I might make 5 shots, finish with 10, but if I grab 13 rebounds, then I grabbed 13 rebounds.
I've never thought about this. Been around this game a long time. I've never thought about that before. Yeah. It's much more impressive now.
Yeah, it's a lot more impressive to grab 13 rebounds than to score 12 points. Anybody can score 12 points. You can get 6 drop-offs and have 6 layups or dunks, and you've got 12 points. So I think the rebounding is more impressive. I'm
going to bring that up on Thursday when I'm reading the post-game stats, and you got 14 rebounds. I'm going to say that's all 14 rebounds. That's not 7 rebounds. It counted as 2 a rebound. That's 14 rebounds.
Yeah.
Baru, as always, man, I love sitting there chatting with you. I love chatting with you on the road and stuff, too, man. You're a lot of fun to be around. Thanks for the time.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Baru Navilarua, everybody here on the Oakland Basketball Show. It's the Ask Kampe portion when we come back. Get to Twitter, tweet your questions, or if you're watching on YouTube, on the YouTube chat, also ask in there as well. Hey, Baru, real quick. We had one that came in here for you real quick. In the chat, Oakland Golden Grizzlies fan club wanted to know, what do you miss most about Australia?
Everything. The food, the beach, the weather. Not to bag on Michigan. Michigan's great. I'm just like...
Oh, yeah, it's real great. It's real great outside right now. Yeah, I know. I lived here my whole life, Baru. It's great.
I'm used to 85-degree days and the beach. That's what I'm used to.
All right. Baru Navilarua, everybody. He likes the beach. We all do, as a matter of fact. We'll be back with more of the Oakland Basketball Show. We're live at RJ's Pub in Rochester Hills.
Your Oakland University Golden Grizzlies.
Drives to the basket, and it's in.
The biggest games on the blacktop.
4-3. Of course. Borowski from 3.
We need you there.
Golden Grizzlies fans, get out your dancing shoes.
Your Oakland University Golden Grizzlies.
Drives to the basket, and it's in.
The biggest games on the blacktop.
4-3. Of course. Borowski from 3.
We need you there.
Golden Grizzlies fans, get out your dancing shoes.
Your Oakland University Golden Grizzlies.
Drives to the basket, and it's in.
The biggest games on the blacktop.
4-3. Of course. Borowski from 3.
We need you there.
Golden Grizzlies fans, get out your dancing shoes.
Your Oakland University Golden Grizzlies.
Drives to the basket, and it's in.
The biggest games on the blacktop.
4-3. Of course.
At RJ's Pub in and Rochester Hills. He's a Coach Greg Kampe. My name is Neil Rule. Happy to have you with us wherever if you're watching on the YouTube, on the Golden Grizzlies channel, if you're listening on 1270 AM The Bet, the Odyssey app as well, your home for Golden Grizzlies basketball. Don't forget, everybody, we're not that far away. December 17th, the Golden Grizzlies and the Michigan State Spartans at Little Caesars Arena. Go to 313presents.com, get your tickets. You can there's still some lower bowl seats left. If you do want to sit down there in the lower bowl, those are still available to you right now if that's the move that you want to do.
Is that the thing?
Yeah.
How many tickets are left in the building?
In the building?
Yeah.
Let me see here. I would have to refresh on it.
Oh.
But yeah, I'll get that information to you though, Cam.
I just
but,
wondered, you know, if what we're looking at, if we're going to sell that out or not, or is it getting closer? We got, what, 14 days, 15 days left?
About that, yeah. Yeah, about that. So, again, go to 313presents.com. So, go ahead and get in there, get those seats that you want to get. It's always a good night of basketball down there at LCA. Golden Grizzlies, Michigan State Spartans still hold the record for highest attended basketball game at LCA.
Hoping we break that this year. I don't know. Are all the little blue dots mean you can buy them?
Correct. These are the corners, though, like the upper
I was
corners.
Say, then we're not close to selling out. There's a lot of blue dots there.
Up in the corners, though, Camp.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
right.
that's where that is. You ready for some Ask Campy?
Sure.
All right, let's do this. We'll jump in. We got a couple on the YouTube stream as well. Let me see here. Craig Wheeler wants to know, Camp, when is Isaiah expected back?
He's over there having dinner right now. So he actually practiced 3 quarters today. He's out of the boot. He's been out for a week. Last week he did some shooting, and today he was out on the floor with us. Based on what he looked like today, I don't think he's going to play this week. You know, maybe if by Wednesday he shows me a little bit more, I'll play him Thursday. But most likely he'll be back for the Michigan State game. That, you know, we're not going to put him out there if he's dragging the leg. And it's not that the leg is painful from the surgery and the broken. It's just that he had his foot in a boot for 8 weeks, right? And so the Achilles and the back of the calf and everything were stationary for 8 weeks. And now you're going to go out and within 1 week you're going to play a full basketball game with running and jumping and stopping and starting. I'm not going to do that to him, and I'm not going to do it to our team either. It's too important of a game for him to be 75 or 80%, and it's too early in the year to play him at 75 or 80%. So if he can prove to me by Thursday that, you know, he could give me 10 minutes full go, then I'll play him. If not, it'll probably be the Michigan State game.
All right, let's go over to Twitter or X, whatever you call it. Pittsburgh Marty in the house says that was a superb performance against Toledo on Saturday, as complete a performance offensively and defensively that I have seen. Well, I know it's impossible to paint the Mona Lisa every game. What things can you do as a staff to sustain this kind of momentum?
Well, you know, getting a selfie with the Mona Lisa was one of my bucket list things, and so last year I went to Paris and went to the Louvre the Louvre. And I actually got a selfie with her. So I like that terminology, Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
So you know how small that picture is? If people been there and seen it, really? I mean, it is. It's like I waited all this time to see it, and I was like, that's it?
I thought the same thing when I saw it, too, yeah.
That's the Mona Lisa. But anyways, Marty, you know, that game gave us a glimpse of what we can be. Geez, I sound like a presidential candidate now. Unburdened, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think we can sit here and say that's who we are yet. You know, I think it showed us what we're capable of. We had a dominant game in November against a really good team in which we played both ends of the floor really well. Our special teams weren't good, and if you look at it that way, we didn't make free throws. We gave up a couple baskets on baseline out-of-bounds plays, so those little special team action wasn't at an elite level, but I thought our defense was at an elite level and our offense was an elite level game, but it was one game. If that's who we are, you know, we're just going to keep getting better. And if it's not who we are, we've got to get to that, because I think they all realized how good they can be from that game. but it's just not. You're not going to snap your fingers and it's happening. It's a progression. It's a marathon. And anybody, all these people sitting here tonight that have been around our program as long as they all have been around have seen this before. You know, it's a slow climb up a escalator in which you're trying to get to the top, and that was a sign of what's up there. But you know, how are we going to consistently play at that level and get there? And the reality of it is when you get in league play, you just got to find a way to win. How you play, you know, as a coach, you're always searching for perfection. You're never gonna catch it, but you're always chasing it. But the bottom line is you got to find a way to win. And Thursday night's a game that we just got to be 1 point ahead when it's over. And it can be ugly, it can be anything. We just got to get, we got to get a win. And if we do, it's a great start to the season. And the other reason it's a great start is because, and I told them this today, all the games are worth one, right? But some games are worth a little more when you're playing. Like if you go beat the bottom team in the league, well, the top team's probably going to win anyways. So you're not gaining anything. You win this game against a team that's probably, I think if you took all the coaches today after everybody watching the teams, and you did the preseason poll today, I think Wright State would probably be picked to win the league based on how they've played. Their win against Princeton was, I talked about it last week, just a dominant win. And it's the best win that our league has seen this year. And so I think that the coaches would say right now, if before the games are played, league games are played based on non-league action, you would have Wright State won. So I think Milwaukee and Fort Wayne would be a very, very close second. But I think, most people would say that. So if we could find a way to win Thursday, not only does it give us a win, but it gives them a loss. And that's what you're looking for and when you're trying to build your resume. And remember the key, there's a lot of things you want to do, but the number one thing you have to do is finish in the top four. That's the number one thing. You got to finish in the top four so that you get that home tournament game. Because the number one goal is to go to the NCAA tournament. You all would be unhappy if we won the regular season and then we get beat in the tournament. We've done that before, and I know it. All right?
Right.
So the number one goal is to get to the tournament. To get there, the first step is you got to finish in the top four. No team, since we've gone to this format, no team that didn't finish in the top four has won the conference tournament. Zero. Not one. And so the analytics say you got to finish in the top four.
More questions with the hashtag AskCampe. Gio asks, Thursday's a gold out game for the fans. Will the team be wearing gold as well, or is this a hashtag Ask Colin question?
No, you could ask Colin, but he'd give you the same answer. We don't have a gold uniform this year, so if we're wearing gold, they're surprising me with a uniform I didn't pay for.
Fair enough.
I didn't even know it was a gold out. Who asked the question?
Gio.
Gio, yeah. I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't even know it was a gold out. But we've got some people from the department here. They're not even looking at me, so I don't
they
know.
are. No, they're.
Is it a gold out Thursday?
Yes.
It is. So are we doing anything special?
Gold pom-poms.
We're giving out gold pom-poms.
There you go.
Oh, okay. So we are doing something special. So it's a special game.
There you go.
And all you people that would rather see us play than the Lions,
come on out.
Come on out.
It's an easier ticket to get.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Slightly.
Yeah. And you'll be home in time for the second half.
That's right. Austin Davis, who's here in the house, can't be able to talk about what went into the decision to bring Warren Marshall off the red shirt this season.
No.
Okay.
No. But I can tell you privately.
There you go.
Or I can tell you when we're at commercial, I can tell everybody here. So next commercial, I'll tell everybody here, but I can't tell the public. Insider, come to the show, you learn.
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
You watch on here, there's some things you're not going to get.
The public gets the regular stuff. You come out here,
right.
you get the good stuff.
Right.
Matt from Horizon asked about Isaiah as well. You kind of already answered that. Jimmy Kennedy, who's here in the house. You have the gauntlet in December, 3 Horizon League games, Michigan State at LCA, the Hawaii tournament, and Arkansas to round out the year. Man, when you say it out loud like that, it is pretty incredible. How do you prep your coaches and players for these tough matchups?
Well, we've got a chance. We still got at least 3 quad 1 games. And last year we won a quad 1 game, and that helped us in our seeding in the NCAA tournament. So we still got 3 chances. and maybe more if you know, if we, right now Loyola Chicago's a quad 1 team. If we beat them, we might get, is it Oregon State Oregon State, and they could be a quad 1 team at the time. So, you know, Michigan State's quad 1 and Arkansas's quad 1 right now. So we've got a chance to knock off a quad 1 team, which would really be huge. Our net right now is 145-ish, and but we do have a quad 4 loss to Eastern, which is the first quad 4 loss we've had in a few years. And that's going to hurt us down the road unless we can counter that with, you know, a quad 1. And then the other thing that you know, if Isaiah gets back and he does what we hope he can do, and we get on a run and win some games, we can always say to the, you know, the committee that, yeah, we lost the quad 4 game, but one of our top players didn't play in it because he was injured. And I don't know how far that'll go, but it's possible. And we're talking about, you know, ifs and buts right now, right? I mean, we're talking about NCAA tournament and quads and seedings and things like that, and we're 0-0 in the league. So, but it's radio.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's radio.
It's fun, Camp. I know this is
it's
fun.
what we're supposed to do.
Mr. Drew Huff on Twitter. How can the athletics administration, campus, et cetera, get students to, number 1, come to games again, number 2, get active and participate like the pre-pandemic? I miss the way the Grizz gang used to be. Maybe I'm just old.
Well, you are, because if you looked at the last 4 or 5 home games last season, it was back to the way it was pre-pandemic. And our game against Eastern was pretty good. It wasn't, the swim team wasn't there naked and you know, all that kind of stuff. But it's funny because I watch a lot of college basketball, especially on ESPN Plus now, and you see a lot of games, you know, at places, and you see these swimming programs everywhere now in their bathing suits there. And like Cleveland State did it, and there were like 6 swimmers there that I watched them play somebody a couple weeks ago, and they had like 6 swimmers in bathing suits there. And that, you know, we were on Sports Center last year because of our swim team and things, so the whole world's looking at that and doing it. But, you know, it was really thriving pre-pandemic. There's no question that our student section was ESPN said it was the best in the mid-major. But I do think at the end of last year it got back, and it was pretty good for a November game against Eastern. And I'm hoping, even though the Lions are playing, I'm hoping it's big on Thursday, because we need it. We need it.
Also, too, the Pistons Extreme team will be performing at halftime as well for the game against Wright State. So, again, make sure you make your way out to that contest.
Is that where they jump off trampolines?
Correct, yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
correct.
That's pretty cool.
Griffin Beers wants to know, what would younger Greg Kampe's reaction be to seeing one of his team's 350th in tempo?
Well, we talked about that a little bit ago. You know, it's not your Oakland's fathers or whatever that statement is, Oldsmobile or whatever that was. You know, I mean, it's different, but it's different because it had to be. I mean, there's a lot of things I've changed over the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and one of them is we want to win. And so the style of play in the transfer portal era is, you know, you can't take a group of young kids and recruit guys that can shoot it and run and hope that they stay around, and in 4 years, you know, if you look at our teams in those days, we always had a very, very a roster that circled through, and what I mean by that is we never had a senior day with 7, 6 guys. It was always 2 or 3.
Right.
And we redshirted people, and we brought transfers in that had to sit out a year. I remember one year we had a group sitting out that was better than our team. You know, they beat us in practice every day. Martez Walker and Sharon Dorsey Walker, and you know, there was someone else
Percy,
in that group. Percy Gibson. You know, they sat out a year, and they were really good in practice every day. But you can't do that anymore. You know, you're not going to have 3 seniors, 3 juniors, 3 sophomores, and that's how you keep that continuity. And that's why we were always top 2 or top 3 every year. You know, for many, many years, and now it's not going to happen. And so what's the best way to win? Well, the best way to win is to teach that defense, play it, get rebounders and get guys that can shoot, and then make sure we get a good shot every time, and make sure they got to play against our defense and not sprint up the floor and shoot shots before we get set. And so, you know, we'll probably stay around 350 in tempo. If we can score 85 points in 63 possessions, we're going to win a lot of games.
All right, Camp. Jeremiah wants to know on Twitter, I'm sure none of your teams have ever planted a flag at midcourt after a big road win, but if you could have, where would you have liked to planted a flag on the road? Oral Roberts, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, back in the day, winning at Oral Roberts was always...
Valpo.
Yeah, I think that's it right there, Valpo. There's no question it would have been Valpo. You know, we started with 16 consecutive losses to Valpo. We won the league championship and lost to them twice in 1 year. 16 consecutive losses there. And when we finally did win there, we got a favorable call, which they called a travel, I think it was, on one of their best players late in the game, up one. They were trying to make the winning basket, and I watched it on tape, and I don't think it was a travel. You know, but there's no question. If we could have planted a flag, it would have been at Valpo.
Last one here before we take the final break. Gary McCarrick wants to know, ask Kampe, what's your name, image, and likeness wish list for your program? Maybe Gary's going to write a check. Let's see.
Well, if I could find someone that would donate $1 million that I could use in the collective, that would be. We'd get some really good players if I could do that. You know, if we could pay 3 guys $350,000, we'd probably win the Horizon League.
There you go. All right.
So if you want to do that, CharitableGiftsAmerica.com, Grizzly done. Write the check. You get I'm not even sure I'm supposed to say this stuff online. I probably just got myself in trouble. So I'm just kidding.
Well, you're not saying that you do, but if you did, maybe it would be structured like that.
I think that's what I said. I know I can't go out publicly and solicit money for that, so I might.
But if you did, it would be like that.
Yeah, it would have looked like that, and I'm probably just made a mistake.
No. Let's just end it right there then, Camp.
Yep.
All right, we'll take the final break, come back, and we'll talk about right side. We'll talk about basketball on the floor, everybody. When we come back, more in the final segment of the Oakland Basketball Show, live at RJ's Pub in Rochester Hills.
Your Oakland University Golden Grizzlies.
Drives to the basket, and it's in!
The biggest games on the blacktop.
4-3. Of course! Borowski from 3!
We need you there.
Golden Grizzlies fans, get out your dancing shoes!
Your Oakland University Golden Grizzlies.
Drives to the basket, and it's in!
The biggest games on the blacktop.
4-3. Of course! Borowski from 3!
We need you there.
Golden Grizzlies fans, get out your dancing shoes!
Your Oakland University Golden Grizzlies.
Drives to the basket, and it's in!
The biggest games on the blacktop.
4-3. Of course! Borowski from 3!
We need you there.
Golden Grizzlies fans, get out your dancing shoes!
Your Oakland University Golden Grizzlies.
Drives to the basket, and it's in!
The biggest games on the blacktop.
Rochester, final segment of the Oakland Basketball Show. He is the Coach Greg Kampe. My name is Neil Rule. Happy to have you with us wherever you're listening on the Odyssey app, 1270 AM The Bet. If you're bumping around 97.1 HD3, if you're bumping around the city of Detroit, and also too worldwide on the YouTube Golden Grizzlies channel. We appreciate everybody jumping in there, getting your questions in there. Camp, we open up Horizon League play, which is wild, but I guess before we take a look at Wright State, what have you seen from the Horizon League so far?
Well, I think you see a very top-heavy league, and you don't see a 1-30 team. And we had, in the last 2 years, we've had a couple of those teams, right? And that's, I don't see that this year. I think there's going to be some teams that struggle, but they're new coaches in a rebuilding system, and they're going to beat somebody.
Both of them are 4-5 this year. So.
Yes, they're going to win some games. And their coaches appear to be really good, and their teams have bought in. And so that's good for the league because that's going to raise the RPI or the net of the league because you're not going to have the 364th team or the 350th team. So that's good. But I think that you see some really, really good teams. I mean, Wright State, Fort Wayne, and Milwaukee have really, really looked good. I watched Milwaukee the other night against a Big 12 team, and they should have won the game. Could have and should have. And that Big 12 team had a guy make 7 threes first time in his life, that saved the game for them. Milwaukee's really athletic, and they might be the best rebounding team I've seen in our league in a long time. And they guard, and they get after you, and they've got multiple guys, and their best players, not their best player, but a very good player, big, Faison Fields, who hurt us last year, is hurt, didn't play. He's going to be back at Christmas. So those 3 teams, and then Northern Kentucky's Northern Kentucky. I mean, Darren Horn's one of the best coaches not in the league, in the country, and he's proven that through his career. And their zone is as good as ours, if not better, and they do a lot of great things. And they've got the great player, the kid had the knee surgery last year. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
I'm not on them yet, so.
Huh?
Sam Vincent, that's
Sam
right,
Vincent,
yeah.
right. Vincent.
Mr. Basketball, I think, in Kentucky, yeah.
Yeah, they got Vincent, and Trey Robinson stayed for his 5th year. He came in at the same time Townsend and those guys came in, and he stayed there. And so, I think they're going to be really good. I think they're the sleeper. And I that's the respect out of that coach. I just think he's so good. That's what I see in the league. And Youngstown, I don't know much about. I've watched half of a game. We got them Sunday on the road. Robert Morris looks better. They won 5 in a row. I think they got beat the other night that broke their winning streak. So we got some teams that are doing some really good stuff. I know against light competition, the league is 28-30 against mid-majors. Our Division I record is because we all play, those bye games.
Right.
But against mid-majors, I think we're 28-30, which puts us, I think, 15th or 16th maybe in the country, and that maybe 18th, something like that. I know the MAC's like 23rd. So, it's been a really good start to the year for the Horizon League, and I think the league's going to be really good. I thought last year was the best it's been since we've been in the league. When you lose 5 coaches, I think you have to take a step backwards, but it looks like we didn't take much of a step backwards.
All right, Camp, Wright State, you look at kind of their body of work as well. They got a road win over the MAC, as you talked about. They got a win over Princeton. They lost a pair of one-possession games at their tournament down in Myrtle Beach against Bradley and also against South Florida. They got a home win over a Mountain West team and Air Force as well. And it's Wright State, and it's Scott Nagy, and we know the book. Or it used to be.
Yes.
Yes, it used to be. Sorry.
It used to be Scott Nagy.
Yeah.
But it's his, Clint played for him at South Dakota State, and you guys watched him play when you watched South Dakota State play, their new coach.
Clint Sargent, yep.
Clint Sargent, right. And he was a very good player for South Dakota State in a lot of games at Oakland. And, it's just an extension. He's an extension of Nagy. That they're an offensive-minded team. I do think they're a little more athletic this year, and they're a little bit better defensively than they've been. They got a couple transfer bigs that are more, they're not offensive juggernaut type players. They're more, beat you up, defend you, and rebound. And you mix that in with those guys that can really play offense. And I think obviously it's been a good formula for them so far. They went to Miami of Ohio and won. They beat Princeton, as I said earlier. Bradley, who is ranked 3rd in the country in the mid-major poll. It was a one-possession game that they lost to Bradley on a neutral floor. I just think they've been the class of the league, as I said earlier. So it's a team that can really shoot the basketball. Hebricks and Knoll are if they're not 2 of the 5 or 6 best players in the league, then it'll be interesting to see some other teams because they are. And they run great offense, and it's going to be a real challenge for us. I wish, honestly, I wish it wasn't being played on December 4th or 5th or whatever day it's being played. But you know what? It is, so we got to go play.
No doubt about it, Camp. Again, big thanks for everybody for coming out here tonight. Go to goldengrizzlies.com. You can get your tickets. Don't forget the Pistons Extreme Team will be there during the halftime break. It's a gold out as well. So come on out and Horizon League play. It is starting. So here we go, everybody. And, of course, we'll have it for you on the radio side on ESPN Plus also. And then Saturday at Youngstown State, 2 o'clock tip there as well. So that will wrap things up from here at RJ's Pub. For the coach, Greg Kampe, my name is Neil Rule. Big thanks to Greg Hessen, Jimmy Kennedy here on site, Jonathan Turner. We will catch you all next week for another episode of the Oakland Basketball Show live at RJ's Pub in Rochester Hills.
Your Oakland University Golden Grizzlies.
Drives to the basket, and it's in!
The biggest games on the blacktop.
4-3. Of course! Borowski from 3!
We need you there.